Hi, everybody. I'm Liz Downing from the Ecom Cooperative. I have my friend Hymie Zebede with me today. Hymie, say hello.
Hey everybody, glad to be
Hymie,
here.
I'm glad you're here. Hymie is a valued partner of the Ecom Cooperative, and I've got him in the spotlight today to ask him some questions, make him super uncomfortable. And no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I kid. Hymie, your business is all about helping brands succeed on Amazon, correct?
Correct, any way that I can.
Awesome. Now, when did you make your way into this crazy industry that we're in? How long ago was that?
It was 12 years ago.
12
Um,
years ago. What were
yeah,
you, 12?
no,
No.
30, 35 now, so
So
not too long. Yeah.
how did you make your way in? What was your first aha moment where you thought, I want to help brands succeed on Amazon? What was the trigger there?
So 12 years ago, I was actually selling for myself. Um, I bought some clothing from the market and put it up on Shopify and Amazon and eBay. And Amazon really took off a lot. And then I was like, wow, there's something on Amazon. And I was doing very, very well on Amazon for many years, with only a few listings. I bought a house, saved up a lot of money, like I had best-selling listings. And I tried to bring it in myself because I was buying it from somebody who was bringing up the price, who was a middleman. Tried to bring it in myself. I was very bad at the logistics and I didn't know anything about quality control and things like that. So I just lost a lot of money on back-to-back containers. And then I said, you know what? I don't know anything about the logistics and dealing with the suppliers and quality control and all that, but I do know how to build best-selling listings on Amazon. So then I said, you know what? Let me take everything I know and go to other people who have, a lot of merchandise, a lot of stock, manufacturers, and I would just show them, I'm like, look at my sales. I'm a nothing. Look at my sales. They're so much better than yours. Let me do it for you. So then I started managing accounts for different people, and uh, my name spread, just from some great success stories. And yeah, I've been doing that the past 3, 4 years.
And you bought a big picture of an airplane.
Yes.
So walk me through a successful listing on Amazon. Obviously, that's changed over these last 12 years. Today, so actually, this will be interesting. 12 years ago, what was the key to success with a listing on Amazon, and how has that changed over the last 12 years?
12 years ago, I used to have, you didn't even need like a quality image. It used to be like a horrible, pixelated garbage image, and you used to just be able to keyword stuff and things would just sell. And you used to, the PPC wasn't, you didn't need as much PPC. And if you did need PPC, the cost per clicks were much, much less. It was just so much easier back in the day. You used to be able to give away products for reviews with coupon codes, and then they all of a sudden they said you can still do it, but they have to put a disclaimer that we received this product in exchange for a review. And then they said you can't do it all together, so the review thing got a lot harder, and PPC got harder. It used to be much easier back then, but there's still so much money to be made in Amazon, and the strategy is basically the same. It's just that you got to go with the times and you got to adjust. And they make it harder and harder, but it doesn't mean that you can get better and better at doing what you do.
Well, and there's so many more opportunities to showcase a brand on listings and, in your store. And Amazon has, through brand registry, created a lot more opportunity to increase the appearance on the digital shelf that is Amazon. So what are some of the coolest things that people can include in their listings now that they couldn't before that you utilize for your clients?
There's a lot of cool things. First of all, you could do the A+ content, and you could put even videos in it now, and you could advertise videos, and people's listings nowadays are just so much nicer. I'm saying if you're doing it right, they could be even the Chinese factories themselves. Their listings a lot of times are beautiful, like with the EBC, and they're cross selling other products. And even Vine, like you said, Vine. I don't know if you said Vine, but you said brand registry, which you do it, and you can enroll in Vine and get reviews. So there's a lot of things, I take it back. There's still a lot of things that Amazon makes it easier to have a beautiful and well-selling image. It's just a different time. But yeah, these days there's a lot you can do to really make it sell well and to stand out from the competition if you're doing it right.
There are certain things about a listing that have, I mean, you mentioned the reviews and you used to be able to give coupon codes, and then people could leave reviews and say, I left this review as a fair, judgment of the product, but I did get it for a discount, or I got it for free. And then 2016, Amazon cut that off. They were like, nope, no more. And I called it Review Gate, because at the time I was like heavily into advising people on how to ask for reviews on their Amazon sales. Listings themselves, I remember when the hotness was putting emojis in the bullet points and putting the bullet points in all caps, and then Amazon was like, nope, you can't do that either. What are some of those hacks that existed in the past that you can no longer do? Like, what is standardized? So like, what are the best practices for bullet points, for example?
First of all, that's like one of the biggest things that bothers me a lot when I'm optimizing a listing for somebody, or preparing for a launch, and they want to keep emojis, a lot of emojis in their bullets, and they're, like you said, all caps, like all those things. They're not helping your listing. They could only hurt it. Amazon's algorithm doesn't like it. Even if the listing is selling well, the bots eventually could pick it up. So I hate that type of stuff. Um, Even HTML code in the description field, they don't like that either. They want it to be plain text. But like one thing that I like to do that still works is if you have EBC and the back end description is hidden, you can put 2,000 characters in the description and it's not showing to the customer. So you can put in, Spanish, misspellings, uh, just different sentences, all long tail search terms. If it's not showing, it's, because I'll see a lot of people where they have EBC, you don't see the description on the front of their page, but they're still putting, we as a small family business start like a whole story, but nobody's seeing that anyway. And they're not even maximizing the 2,000 characters. So that's a big thing.
And that all feeds the algorithm, right? I mean, that can only help you by doing that. And it's not something that the shopper sees. It's just something that plays along well with the algorithm and helps your listing be seen by more people, right?
Exactly. And then also there's all the optional fields. A lot of people don't fill out the optional fields. I'm not saying to keyword stuff it, but there are, different things that you can do to help it. Like, first of all, like when you put in a model number, let's say you're searching for something, I don't know, you're searching for a headphone or you're searching for a computer or anything, and you type in the model number of it, Amazon's going to show you that product. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, they'll put the model number, sometimes they don't fill it out. Sometimes they'll just put in, random code, like their SKU and stuff. But like you could put in a variation of a keyword so that it'll also help the algorithm show it more, like when people are searching it. You know what I mean? Like you put in a search term in the model number. I'm not saying to do keyword stuffing, but something that'll just pick up. And then also all the optional fields, like somebody searching underwear. If somebody's selling underwear and they don't fill out all the optional fields, like underwear type, is it boxer briefs? Is it briefs? Is it this? Is it that? And then when a buyer is searching the word underwear on Amazon, they're going to see on the left-hand side all those filters that are going to say, stretchy, whatever it is, or like, for pants, they're going to see all different things: skinny fit, cargo fit, boot, all those things. If they don't fill out all those optional things in the background, they're not going to show up when somebody clicks the filter button. I use the filter button a lot. A lot of people think like nobody uses the filter button, but if I'm searching for something and I want to see it, I'll click the button, I'll click it, and then it's just going to show me a new set of search results. A lot of people leave that out.
That makes me wonder, do you think that people in our industry shop differently than like a person who's not in our industry, that's never like peeled back the curtain? I don't really have a good, like, I don't have a good read on that with myself. Like, do I shop differently now that I know so much about Amazon, or do I shop just like any other person? I remember talking to people and they said, I sort by Prime and then I sort by reviews. But now that there's a star rating in effect, do you think you shop differently because you know what's happening behind the scenes?
I definitely catch myself shopping differently in a few ways. Like, first of all, I'll look at the keywords and I'll just start like researching things based on the keywords. And a lot of times if I search one thing and then I see something else pop up, I'll click that. Like, I start browsing and I start looking like, okay, here, like I want to see the optimize. It gets in your head a little bit, but then like when you see how other people shop, if you just see how your friends are shopping for things, or if you're not thinking like that for a second and you're thinking like just a regular buyer and you're searching for something, a lot of times people will use the filters on the left hand side, which a lot of, if you're thinking like, okay, I'm an agency or I'm optimizing listings, a lot of people just totally ignore that. They'll just they'll just search the main keywords and they'll see who's popping up and look at the reviews. And one thing that I like to look at is which is kind of an agency thing that I brought, just into shopping is, I'll always, when I'm looking at an item, I'll always most of the time I'll look at their reviews and then I'll just sort by like recent and I'll sort by negative. And, I want to see what like people are complaining about. And a lot of times I'll see like review manipulation things, like where they're messing around with the variations and it's like, they're talking about a different product here,
I do the same. And because of our experience with reviews and working with so many brands and sellers that have had review manipulation dumped on them, or they've had review attacks by other sellers and stuff like that, you have to take it all with a grain of salt. But if you're buying something like a vacuum cleaner, or you're like a mid-ticket item, or you're buying something that you need to function in a particular way, I was looking at mobile tens units, that do the electric massage.
Electric shock.
I read one where there were 4 or 5 reviews that said, yeah, this shocked the crap out of me. It's not good. It doesn't work. It's dangerous. And so I know that Amazon tries really hard to keep dangerous products off the market, but when you see a review like that, you really get turned off on buying that product because obviously you don't want that to happen to you. So, I don't know. Do you ever try to educate a non-industry person on better ways to shop? Like, are you ever like hanging out with a friend at lunch and they're like, oh, let me look for that on Amazon. And you're like, here, let me show you how to look for that on Amazon. I try not to do that, but I find myself doing it all the time.
I kind of do that a lot also, like somebody searching something like, let me look 1 second. I'll say like, look, this guy over here, he has all fake reviews, or this guy over here, he like a lot of times I'll start to point things out and just, I try to hold myself back also,
Yeah, but there's also the whole, we've been in the industry long enough that you're like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. That's a good brand. That's a good seller. But well, so walk me through a success story of yours. You don't have to use the brand name, but tell me about a company that came to you and they had a certain number of sales and they were doing fairly well, but you optimized their listings and you helped them get their creatives on point, and tell me about their growth as a result of your efforts.
There's a few success stories. I can give you 2 quick versions of it, and then because they both had like different reasons for the growth or whatever, a big part of it. One of them, I brought a company from 2 million to 24 million in 2 years. And one of their biggest things was, first of all, they didn't really know how to optimize listings and a lot of things. Everything comes together, to really make it happen. But like one of the things was they were constantly running low on stock and constantly running out of stock on certain items, certain variations. And their mindset was like, oh, it's okay, this variation, we're going to get it back in 2 months. And I'm like, no, you need to air it in. And they're saying, no, but if we air it in, we're going to lose money. We're going to, it's going to cost us a few $1,000s. And I'm like, but you're ruining the entire momentum of growth for this listing. $2,000 to lose on an item to bring in the goods quicker. Like, think about, like the listing is years and years and years of growth and sales and money coming in. Like, you don't want to mess up that momentum, because every time you sell out of something, obviously you disappear off the pages. And then even Like a lot of people don't even know, like especially like people in apparel, like they think like, oh, if you sell out of a size, it's it's not the biggest deal. But like if you like every single size slash color, the child ASIN is ranked for different keywords. Is like one size slash color could be showing up on page one, and then if that one sells out, it doesn't mean another size is going to be showing in that same spot for that same keyword. You might be 3 pages away now, and then all of a sudden your whole listing tanks because that was your MVP listing. That was the one bringing in all the sales, and that was the one that had the prime piece of real estate on Amazon search results. So like doing that was a huge thing, and then also just the fear of not they didn't want to break up case packs, so like if one thing is selling well, like one size is selling well, they didn't want to send in only that size. They want to send in the other slower selling sizes also, so they don't have to break it up. But then it's like, but this size is not selling as much and we're overstocked, so if you want to send this in, we're going to have to lower the price on this slow selling item. You don't want to be overstocked. That's you're going to pay storage fees. You're going to waste, you're holding up cash flow, and you're hurting yourself in the eyes of Amazon's algorithm because you're showing them just slow selling items. There was a lot of things I could go on. I could go on for a long time with that.
Sounds like they had similar logistics issues that you had when you were selling apparel.
Yeah, well, my thing was I didn't know anything about just importing and quality control and stuff like that, but I knew how the Amazon worked, where every single size slash color, you have to treat it like its own item. You have to make sure that this size color is getting into Amazon the appropriate amount, and you can't just have like 1 month's worth of stock. You need to have a little bit more than that. I like to say 60 to 90 days worth of stock, because first of all, you're not planning on slowing down your sales. You're planning on only growing, I hope. So the 60, 90 days worth of stock could be less than that. And worst case, if it's the same, okay, you have 60 to 90 days worth of stock. You're not overstocked. You're going to sell it. But if you have 30 days or less of stock, first of all, if you have a month's worth of stock and you start sending stuff in, and then that there's delays and things like that, and then even when they receive the goods, it takes time to check it in. It's a headache. You start running low on stock, things in different warehouses, like in Amazon's fulfillment centers. They're not going to spread it out, throughout all the fulfillment centers. So like a lot of people in one state, they're going to want to buy something. In New York, it's going to say 2 day shipping, but a guy in California, it might say 4 or 5 days shipping. And like a lot of times when I'm searching for things, I click like available tomorrow. Like I'm a last minute shopper a lot of times. It'll make it or break it sometimes if it's 2 days or 1 day versus a week. And then the competitor gets the sales, and then Amazon sees, wow, somebody clicked into Hymie's listing, and instead they bought it from the competitor. They're giving him points now, So like everything is yeah.
So they took your advice on staying in stock, and you optimized their listings, and you in 2 years, like
Yeah.
8 times. I mean, it was huge growth. Okay, so you had one more. Tell me that one too.
Yeah, and also that one, I just want to point out, they weren't focusing on organic rankings. You know what I mean? It was like what's organic rankings? Everything is PPC, but there was no like, okay, when we're getting, we're getting a surge in sales, like what's the cause of it? Like what, is it because we're advertising on a certain word? Is it because a certain word Amazon's algorithm brought to the top? Like you need to look at all those things to see like where the sales coming from. Because maybe one day you're going to see, oh, we were doing a lot of sales a month ago, and then all of a sudden they drop down, and then you're like scratching your head. What's the reason why my sales are not like they were before?
Right.
So that was another thing about it. But and then another recent thing, very exciting. We're expecting a lot of growth in one of my accounts right now. Last year we did about 23 million on one account, private label, of course. And this year it looks like we're going to do about 45 million. And a big thing a big thing about that is, and we're planning on growing a lot more. Like the goal really is to, in the next couple of years, hit 100 million, because right now we were selling items where we weren't doing FBA, and usually I'm always FBA. This was an item that you can't do FBA just because it's a heavier item, and when you do FBA with it, you very hard to make money with it. So we were doing everything merchant fulfilled, but we were doing a nice amount of money merchant fulfilled. So we went over to, and we're not even fully there yet with all our items, but we went over to seller fulfilled Prime. Actually, you know what? We just went over to the premium shipping so far, because the seller fulfilled Prime, there was a delay, like there was some issues with the tracking before we integrated with all these 3PLs where they're going to be able to ship our items right away. So we should be getting our seller fulfilled Prime badge any day now. But we're seeing a huge growth in merchant fulfilled items from doing the premium shipping. So now we know, wow, like we're doing premium shipping where our sales are exploding because we're offering, very quick shipping. Now, once we don't even have the Prime badge, when we have the Prime badge, game over. Like it's gonna be insane. And also, that's a big part of it. But then also a lot of the same things with the previous company, like just not tracking organic rank, believing that everything is ads, it's all about the ads, but ads are a very big part of it, but it's not everything. You need to look at everything together, because you could be spending on ads. If somebody's only focused on ads and they're not looking at the back end of the listing and what's going on, like I said, the optional fields, the generic keywords. A lot of people didn't even update their generic keywords because recently Amazon said you could increase the character limits. So a lot of people didn't even, all those things help the PPC, they help the conversion rate, they help the organic rank, everything together. I could talk about it for hours and hours.
Well, so what are some, let's pretend that you're explaining this to somebody who doesn't know anything about organic rank. What are the things to pay attention to gauge organic rank, and what are some ways to increase your organic rank?
If somebody really didn't know about it at all, I would say, first of all, how did you optimize your listing? Did you do it from your head, like what you think is the right keywords? Or did you actually use like a tool and look at the data and see, okay, what are people actually searching, or where is it coming from? Or like where is the main competitor getting all his sales from, and build those keywords into the title, the bullets, keywords, description. Like a lot of people, they'll neglect the title, they'll just write something. Of course, you need to focus on, you have to have readability, but title is one of the most important things with the algorithm. So like you need to have also the long tail search terms there. It's very hard to make a very, very nice title. And then I would tell them you need to track your organic keywords. Like if you're not tracking your keywords using a tool like Helium 10, for example, a keyword tracker. And there's a lot of other tools, but let's say you're using, you need to look at keyword tracker and see, okay, what position am I in for this keyword? And then when you have a sudden growth spurt, when you see a lot of sales coming in, you'll know, okay, it's from this keyword because I started ranking for it. And then if you see all of a sudden that, let's say your sales suck, and like you're supposed to look back at your competitor and see like, listen, my competitor is getting majority of his sales from these 10 keywords. I need to focus on these 10 keywords. I don't need to focus on a million other things. Like I know, because you could easily narrow it down and say, okay, he's getting his sales from these keywords. Where am I? Like you need to make sure you don't have to get there overnight, but you need to make sure you're going in the right direction. Right. You're not going in the right direction. It's just saying the same for weeks and weeks, and something's wrong.
And in Helium 10, that's the Cerebro tool, right?
Cerebro tool is to pull the keywords, like for the competitor research, and then keyword trackers to just see like the real time, like where is my listing ranking, and a lot of people in the beginning, they completely ignore that. And then also with the ads, they won't connect the two. Their advertising strategy will be like, I just want a low ACOS, which everyone wants a low ACOS. That's great, but I'm saying, how is it affecting the keywords? How is it affecting the organic rank for your listing? Because there's going to be a time where your budget ends at the end of the day, or maybe when more and more competitors come in and your cost per click goes up. You don't want your ad, all of a sudden my ads are done for the day and then that's it, your sales are done also. No, like you want it to be like, okay, when my PPC is done spending, there's still sales coming in because I built up the momentum with the organic keywords.
Hot tips. Well, listen, I think that I've kept you from your important work long enough today, but I encourage everybody who watches this video to follow Hymie on LinkedIn. He's posting more and more good stuff every week, and stay tuned to see him in the Ecom Cooperatives webinars and in person at our live events. Thank you, Hymie.
Thanks, Liz. My pleasure. Thank you, everybody.